what's up guys? My name is Zach and today I am driving a 2005 Dodge Ram 3500. Up front is a 5.9 liter turbo diesel inline six, and down below is a 6-speed manual transmission. Now, I am super excited to be driving this truck for two reasons. First of all, this is the tough of the tough. This is a pre-emissions diesel, it's manual, and there's just a lot going on. But the second reason is the fact that my good friend Matt, who I've known for years and years and love dearly, he built this truck specifically for hot shotting. So hot shotting is a term for basically over-the-road trucking in a very aggressive way. These are the men and women that you call when you have a car in Denver that needs to be in Miami in 2 days. Hot shotters drive through the night, cold, winter, fall, spring, whatever it is, any condition, anytime. They're driving extreme distances for a good chunk of change. And so this truck has been modified to reflect that and to make Matt's life a lot easier. And we'll be talking about those modifications in just a second. But if you would like to submit your own vehicle and have it reviewed here on the channel, whether it be a giant Cummins truck or a little smart car, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out and I come out to you. But let's get back to that 5.9 liter straight six under the hood. It's a 24 valve engine, and this is a really good year for it because in 2007, the United States government started to really crack down on diesel emissions. So in 2005, they actually didn't have many laws, so you can modify them, delete them, tune them to get wonderful fuel economy. So sort of the beginning of the end, or I guess before the beginning of the end. So a lot of people sought after this 5.9 Cummins because it's such a fantastic engine and doesn't really have a whole lot restricting it. Now, like I said, paired to it is a 6-speed manual, and again, 2005 is a good year for it because this was the first year that Mercedes and Chrysler were fully in bed together. And so what that means for this truck is that this transmission was actually a Mercedes source transmission from ZF, built by ZF, which is a wonderful, fantastic transmission company. And so the shifter feels wonderful. It drives great, and I love it very, very much. Last but not least, this particular 3500 is four-wheel drive. However, it lives most of its life in rear wheel as it's pulling a lot of weight. So how does it feel to drive a 2005 Dodge Ram 3500 Cummins diesel? Well, it is a lot. This truck is big, it's massive, and the clutch does not mess around, especially because of the amount of torque that the engine makes. It's not like a light dump and go. It's tough, and it reminds you of that. However, the shifter feels great. Once you're used to it, tossing gears, you're fine. It is just a big adjustment going from a little car to a big car in this type of way. I'm shifting at about 2,000 to 2,500 RPM. That seems to be where the engine is happiest. Now, redline starts just above 3,000, which is characteristic of diesels. They are pretty low revving engines, which is why they're so great. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have 6 gauges. Off to the left is my fuel and battery voltage. Then I have my tachometer and speedometer in the center, and off to the right, I have my oil pressure and coolant temperature. On the steering wheel, I do have cruise control, and that's it. Obviously, you can tell that the steering wheel has seen a thing or two because it's been around the block 275,000 times. Off to the left, we do have a climate control vent, headlight switches, fog lights, and cargo dome light. And moving on to the door, we have the power mirrors, power locks, and power windows. Moving into the center, we do have an aftermarket radio because Matt needs his tunes when traversing the country. But then we have very simple climate controls, fan speed off to the left, temperature in the center, where to send it off to the right, and of course a little snowflake for the AC. Little cubby, more cubby space down below, and the shifter that kind of just obnoxiously comes out of nowhere right up in the center. It is very tall. This is obviously an aftermarket shift knob, but I like the feeling of it. Like I said, it really shifts very, very well. And then off to the left, we have our 4-wheel drive settings. As you can tell, it does not get used. And off to the right, we do have cup holders, so we will do a big friggin' bottle test. And I am very happy to report that the 2005 Dodge Ram 3500 passes the big friggin' bottle test for the first pass of 2024. Moving up the center console, we do have an aftermarket additional center console. However, it's pretty common to find these in these trucks. It's a very, very common modification that people do. And then we have a giant center console. Ram trucks have always been very good about having very big center consoles, even in their 1500s of the same era. The seats are comfortable. They do the job. Obviously, Matt is able to put up with them over thousands of miles, so they can't be all that bad. However, they're not the comfiest things in the world, and even though this was a higher trim of the 3500 back in the day, it didn't get leather, so you could still spec leather or cloth depending on what you wanted, and the original owner went with cloth on this one. Now, we don't have any back seats. Normally, this would come with back seats, but like I said, this is a hot-shotting rig, and so Matt actually built a little sleeper cabin. There's a 5-inch thick foam mattress topper that he cut to size for the back seat, and this is where he spends a lot of very short nights when he has to take a break from driving. Now, we will talk about the bed. There's nothing too crazy from the factory, but that giant box that you see up at the front, that's actually a 100-gallon fuel cell. So that paired with the regular fuel tank installed, Matt can go well into the 1,000-mile range with the fuel on board. He said about 1,600 miles to one quote-unquote tank of gas. Now, he pays out the absolute nose when he does have to fill up, but he can drive from here to South Carolina and back without having to even look at a gas station, which is pretty friggin' cool. Now we gotta talk about the looks. I love this darker maroon color that Dodge put this vehicle into. I think it looks fantastic. I think it's really period correct of the era. We did see some other purple cars at this time, most notably the PT Cruiser, but I don't want to disrespect the Ram like that. But I like it, and I've always liked the look of third-gen Rams. Personally, I used to own a second-gen Ram for a very long time, and so seeing these as sort of, a revised, updated version of the second-gen, it looks nice and handsome, and I don't have any worries about it. With all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving a 2005 Ram 3500? Well, first of all, it's a great truck. It's pre-emissions, so it's actually going to be reliable. It's actually going to make power. It's actually going to be usable. Modern diesels, because of the restrictions, just aren't that good. The 6.7 liter Cummins is fine, but it's not anything to really brag about. This back in its era was. And if you talk to any diesel owner, they'll tell you that right off the bat. Pre-2007 is what you really want. And so this is the heyday of diesel trucks. So why? Why a diesel? Why wouldn't you just stick with the Hemi? What's wrong with a Hemi? Well, for what Matt is doing, diesel is kind of the only option he has. Diesels are designed to run and run and run and run and run. This engine is actually derived from a generator. The valve cover on this actual engine came off of a Cummins diesel generator from a warehouse. And so they're designed to just run and run and run and run and run. And that's what they're good at. Do they rev high? No. Is this extremely fun to drive? No. But it's here to do a job. It isn't really here to coddle you or kiss you on the forehead. It's meant to kick you in the butt and give you an inferiority complex when you're too tired and it wants to keep going. That's what this truck is good at. If you want to feel like you're not doing enough in a day, drive a Cummins. This truck just feels like it can go until the world stops. And if the world does stop, I have a strong feeling I could hook up some chains and get it spinning once again. This truck isn't quite my cup of tea per se, but it has a very, very important use here in America and across the world. We need trucks, we need goods moved around the country, and that's done in something like this. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Matt for letting me take his rig out. This thing is so neat. It's always cool to get new and wonderful experiences, and this most certainly has been one. Matt has been a very near and dear friend of mine for years and years and years. So huge thank you to always being a good supporter of the channel. So I am very thankful to Matt. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.